come to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. If the public is not careful, then we are going to miss the post-Raila compass that the state does not want you to get. At this point, what those who are the leaders are doing is just to make sure you are disorganized. And I'm speaking about, there is a well choreographed script to keep the public talking about Raila's death, and this is to divert the attention of the country from a risky undertaking that President Ruto did after Odinga was announced dead. After immediately that information came out, there is a blunder that the head of state did, and this was the blunder.
So, after receiving the news that Baba had left, he signed 8 controversial bills into law.
I have them somewhere here. I had, where did I put them?
What was so urgent?
The land
Increase charges for the passengers who are using planes. You pass bills that claw back on the democratic gains we have got under Baba's struggle. And you come in front of us telling us that he was really your friend and you believe in him. No. It tells you that majority of the people who are now claiming to be very close to Baba never believed in anything he believed in. For instance, the Cybercrime Act. What does that say? They can delete your content without even a court order. The privatization bill, a ministry can decide to sell
JKI.
any state-owned property without approval of parliament.
Or public participation.
Yes. You see, eliminating parliament from any decision a government takes, it means you have eliminated the consent of the people, because parliament is a representative of the people. And I wonder which parliament is this that passed a bill that takes power away from them? A parliament that passes a bill that takes power away from them.
Ladies and gentlemen, kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. Thank you very much for watching this podcast. And I want to ask you guys to subscribe to our channel, because here we do in-depth political analysis. And thank you for our new subscribers. We really got new subscribers, and probably it was because of our in-depth analysis on Raila Odinga's death. And we are still on that direction. And I want to urge you to subscribe. Please share with someone in your family. Oh, I was glad there is a family of Kevin Sisi Wote. They called me, I think around 7. Wanted to subscribe. So kindly subscribe. Methinks that William Ruto has finally accepted, or methinks that the scheme to sign those laws, I think the state just wanted to provoke the public, the provocation to bring in, provoke the masses, bring in some revolution, so that probably they can achieve something by it. Nobody in his right senses will actually sign those laws. But I'm telling you, it is because of that law why Mutahi Kahiga, the Nyeri governor, is making a very reckless statement on the death of Raila Odinga. Reckless, backward, insensitive, from a statesman, from a senior-most leader coming from Mount Kenya. Actually, if you allow me to speak more about it. Even his age does not allow him to celebrate Raila Odinga's death.
na inyo mutaumaga inita ndara kuduna kuria na kugena kunako ito tole yaro radio nako yo duaro sunoke to ithu twage kwikia ngatu kirakie dukana ke leo turakibatire gaina kyaroka reka kirutu arauga leo kurorwo ni atia kongo le mwana mweka tuikaia atia bado mali ndo majokia drawing ki to le bagore era kire ho gire to kwa ya kuikia gaina ke no yakire ya gima kwa mu ni akoma gakayo ile tibi wazio ajira yake ona kete kule arugo ni kugira na mara koroga na munyo yako batara baba ake moya ngenda na ya roke Yo digo que longa. Yo cara tureke, tule macho. Yo cara tule macho, tuwa meria no ya gadi, tulie te ogbo, roe, diga ikare, tabe makweli go Canada. Okiwe, to kulia makanida litare, magadikireria na makarora. Todru bwana sibiwe nerari de kwedwero ro bwana sibiwe ogbo. De kwedekera go bwana sibiwe na tukero ne bwana oleku. Kana tipo, odu wenu de kwa ndio tufunga bwana sibiwe tukesibu. Leo yoro na la gira kilo. Ndio ni mali ya maji ndio tutolia bwana yupi. Kana tipo, leo kwa walita ino bila tukubara tuoje pe. Ni bwana deke na kugo itora tunyitanalele. Nyoge tuaina madena na kamwa.
And we are disappointed. And I know even you there, you are disappointed. He's saying that William Ruto was taking development to Nyanza, and so it was fine because the angel of death, I don't know, saw that then went and took Raila. So it's Ruto has lost. Is putting Ruto as someone who is a victim of that. Death is something, and I've refused in this channel to use this channel. I've refused to use this channel to propagate the narrative of Ruto kill Raila. I'm not, nothing there like that. Raila is a human being. He was going through his personal, despite of the things we saw in public, he also had his own problems. Hata mimi huwezi jua, maybe niko mgonjwa na mtu huwezi jua. So that was it. But I've tried to think, wait a minute. You know, wait a minute. What is the intention of this statement? On whose behalf is he talking? But what is the audacity of making such a statement and knowing that it will go viral, that others will hear from where he's talking, Maliameka? How does he think that Raila family is thinking, is feeling about this? We want to appreciate that Raila was very influential across the country. But in the evening, he had a home, he had a wife, he had children, he had a family. And on that breath, while his death has hit the country, but all of us are talking, lakini wale ambao wanasikia ile uchungu. By the way, let me tell you, kifo ya Raila na iliuma. Even today I was talking to some people mali nilikuwa nimeenda kutengeneza gari, and I felt, and people were murmuring, mazee about Papa man. People are still playing his clips and saying, will we have such a man? So I want to look at that soundbite from those perspectives. And allow me ask you some questions that you must not answer, but they must run through your mind. This statement, does it, between the opposition and states, whose interest does it advance? And it has, according to me, this is a state script. And it is a state script that is thriving in the fact that, two factors. It is thriving in the fact that Rigathi Gachagua never attended Raila's funeral. And Mutahi Kahiga is a well-known ally of Rigathi Gachagua. So someone wants to justify that probably Rigathi Gachagua, and I'm telling you, I'm saying because the next minute this is what you'll see, that probably Rigathi Gachagua is hating on Mount K, is hated Raila on that, handshake on that, whatever happened in Nyanza, and that is why he never attended. Number two, it's thriving on the fact that Uhuru Kenyatta was well received in Nyanza and was well received by Raila constituency, by the mourners at Raila Odinga funeral. And some people feel that they're not comfortable with that. So you need to stoke some emotions so that you keep people talking. Immediately I saw that video, I looked for the post by reaction from Oscar Sudi Sofa. Oscar Sudi have said this. Governor Mutahi Kahiga, I've said this before and I will say it again. Why are you pushing one community against the wall when the country is yet to come to terms with the loss of Baba Raila? Starting tribal tensions is an irresponsible and reckless statement from a leader. Shame on you. Shame on him. But I feel I may not be right. I feel Mutahi Kahiga was sent. I feel Mutahi Kahiga was sent. Much as Rigathi might have some dissent against Odinga, but I don't think he will stoop to this law. And another reason to show you that for me it is a conspiracy by the state, it's also supposed to show people that there is some development happening in Nyanza. Come on. Huh? Come on, which development? Fish pie. The county, the stadium started way back. Stadium was not built now. Ilianza kitambo sana when Uhuru Kenyatta was the president. So, did William Ruto start? The Cell Level 6 hospital was in the county integrated plan Yarasanga. Is implementing what was there. What is this development that he's talking about? It's supposed to plant in the minds of people from Luo Nation that there is development going on there. But the wider picture, the objective of this is first to make you talk about it. Remember, the conversation about that bill was gathering momentum in social media. That was the topic. That was the post-Raila discussion that we were going to have. Someone is bringing this discussion. I'm waiting for reaction as well go. Probably I can do another follow-up video on that, looking at reactions. I can get a different interpretation if. But at this moment, I'm not seeing more. I'm seeing this as a well-choreographed statement. And let me show you. At the funeral, at the same time, Gathoni wa Mushomba is also now telling us how Rigathi Gachagua formed a WhatsApp group that coordinated Uhuru Northland City attack.
Ya polisi iza wagena ni ndire hau.
Atiriri tondu uici wa
ndagwetwo moro dietwo moro riu onacio mathiete kuya mburire nio mari mbere kujita moro ya Uhuru.
Tabetiga nini hold on mweshimwa tondu no ware hodo serious.
Yes.
Tondu ni gubangwo gwabangirwo thiini wa WhatsApp.
Yeni.
Borisia mama ngina ikaiyo.
Yes.
Onu ndu wabangitwo.
Oh yes, na kwari nginya na mitandao wa WhatsApp na ni ndambire gwikio ndire ndandikire hau mitandao ini.
Admin ariwo.
Ni ndikuhe uhoro. Reke siasa ikinye acio moigaga nio manyitithanagia rũrĩrĩ nio marenda kũnyitithania rũrĩrĩ matwĩre mambĩte kwaga gũthii kwĩnyitithania nĩkĩ na mwene mbũri nĩ mambe mathiĩ mere ene mbũri nĩ sorry tũmone makiuga nĩ sorry na macokie mbũri twĩ hamwe tondũ ndũngiuga atĩrĩ rũrĩrĩ nĩ rũnyitane na ũrĩa wekire ironda iria wathondekire ndũrĩ wathiĩ kũhorohia ironda icio
rĩu warutirwo nĩ ũndũ wa
niĩ ndarutirwo WhatsApp page na niĩ njaragia madebe ya
WhatsApp page ya aicia mbũri haya
makĩnduta WhatsApp page nĩ kuga ũguo mũrenda gwĩka kwa wa ithe wa ngina I am not party to that transaction ndĩna ma
andũ mathondekete group
na mũcemanio Thika Greens na no niĩ itathire mũcemanio ũcio wa Thika Greens ateti a kĩrĩma
wa gũbanga
ũrĩa mbũri kaiywo na host wa mũcemanio ũcio wa Thika Greens nĩ oĩkaine na mbia cigĩcangwo cia gũthi kũiya mbũri niĩ njaragia ma
yani
na ona ingĩtwarwo igoti-inĩ njĩrwo ndũgame ndute wĩira ngaruta wĩira o ũcio na njĩre andũ mathiĩ gwa Safaricom macarie kana nĩ kũrĩ WhatsApp group yathondeketwo na marore nũ warĩ admin na nĩa marĩ hau na nũ wanjikirie nja page-inĩ ĩyo ũtukũ
yani atongoria mheshimiwa atongoria agĩkũyũ macamanĩtie mũkawa magĩthondeka group ya WhatsApp gũcira nyũmba kwa mũndũ gũthondekwo group ya WhatsApp na agenda yarĩ kũiya mbũri cia mama ngina
that is on record
ndiroĩ
rĩu andũ makĩnuma rĩ makĩnjambia rĩ maranjambia tondũ hena maũndũ itendagwo njarie
of where sheep was stolen. Have a listen. I dare ask, a WhatsApp group was formed. Apart from telling us, regarding, that is what he's saying in that video. Apart from telling us regarding Gachagua formed that group, can you tell us other members in the group? Yes, you're only telling us regarding formed, yes. If he formed the group, then yes, group haina mtu moja, sikona watu wengi. Probably she was also that, also she knows. Why didn't she expose it at that time? Why do you then single out one person? Why don't you say all the other MPs that were there? If the intention really is to expose the fact that the Northern City attack was coordinated from that point. Okay? So this is too late, too little. Too late, too little. And you know, Gadono Mushima should be reminded, going after the former president needs an okay from the sitting president. Unless you want to tell us you cannot attack the property of the former president without an okay from the president. Any other thing is sugarcoating. And that tells you that it is a long stroke that has been set to frame Rigathi as the enemy. And let me tell you where Rigathi is on target. In 2027 general election, there were four voices that were very dominant and that were emerging as the dominant voices. The first voice was the voice of Raila Odinga, the voice of Rigathi Gachagua, and the voice of Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, Raila Odinga's voice was in this space and was perceived as pro-president. Now, someone is not comfortable that Raila's voice is went out, and Rigathi seemed to be the only one remaining in the picture. How long has it taken Gathoni Mushomba to tell the country about it? And you know, if you listen to, there is a speech from Mama Ida. There is something she said, and she spoke as wife of politicians. She said something that you inherit his friends, but don't inherit his enemies. The next day, the person you think is your husband's enemy is his friend.
I know if you are to ask the spouses of these politicians down here, they'll tell you the challenges are many and not easy to cope with. I learned that if you're a spouse or politician, inherit his friends, but don't inherit his enemies. Why do I say this? Because you'll be standing there, you'll be sitting there at home, thinking so and so is an enemy of my husband, because he belongs to a different political party or he comes from a different area. I tell you, you will be wrong. Don't inherit in his enemies, because tomorrow you'll find that those people that you thought were his enemies are his best friends, and you'll be left out. Be careful when you are handling his friends. Inherit his friends, but his enemies, let him deal with them the way he made them.
And hapo mbele akasema Raila kuna watu wengi sana, marafiki wake ni wengi, but I thank you former President Uhuru Kenyatta. This is Mama Ida. There is something why Mama Ida is called Min Pain. She spoke about the voice of reconciliation. She spoke about the voice of forgiveness. She spoke about the need to calm the tension. In fact, the fact that Raila demanded his burial to take 72 hours was, did not sit well with the people. We are talking about reconciliation. And someone is not so keen on this. And there are people, because they thrive on political agreement. And I want you to pay attention to the fact that, look at Mutahi Kahiga. Mutahi Kahiga is a second-term governor who has nothing to lose. He has nothing to lose. Probably not seeking any seat. So that's why he was the most appropriate person to play the dirty work. If you feel how Uhuru mourned Raila and how William Ruto mourned Raila, there is some difference. This is the difference. Did you hear Uhuru talking about the Uji? Ruto could only speak about politics. I never knew that I supported Raila. I never knew that one day he will support me. Of course, I saw him trying to pull the current meeting where they were there. And of course, he said that because Uhuru Kenyatta had spoken about the personal experience of uji. How wakikunya uji sisi wazee kunya ile uji yetu tunaweza wao wazee wetu na. It looks a bit more authentic and organic. And the president tried to pull one with, we went from Ida, Raila wanted to see me, and then we took lunch. He also tried to bring it up. But the one for Uhuru Kenyatta looks like the genuine friendship. I want to tell you this. Mama Ida spoke about the spirit of reconciliation, the spirit of sticking together, forgive each other. If Raila forgave Uhuru Kenyatta, despite of the Mogoroki, Raila had a handshake with William Ruto. The man who said, I think for the last 10 years, 15 years, Uhuru had a business of abusing William Ruto. When they were in their campaigning for 2013, all the way to 2017, all the way to 2022. If there is someone who abused Raila for 15 good years, that person is William Ruto. 15 good years. And within those 15 good years that he was abusing Raila, Kalonzo Musyoka was praising Raila. This is the plot. This is why this is happening. There is a grand scheme to lock out opposition, to lock out Raila base from the opposition. That is one of the plans. That look here, plan A was that Raila Odinga was going to endorse William Ruto for 2027. That was, if you ask me, my projection was that could have been part of the plan. But looking at how Uhuru was has mourned Raila. I feel, and Uhuru coming back in the picture, I feel Uhuru could have reunited with Raila to try to produce a Raila presidency. That was, if you ask me, that was in the fray. That was the end. That's probably why Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto went for Gideon Moi to pull him out of that team. Someone is setting up the country for blind patronage to pacify the masses, because there is a precedence in this country that when a voice is being raised about something, it unites the people. And the social media, the cybercrime law can actually unite the people. So some blind patronage needs now to be created. And that is best served by setting up person A over person B. Raila Odinga was a voice of the country. Voice of the country. And if you listen to the interpretation of Oscar Sudi, why is Oscar Sudi not interpreting it simply like Mutahi Kahiga hate Raila? Why do you think he's interpreting it in that manner? He's interpreting it in that manner because that was the scheme, the 41 versus 1. And that is why it is high time. And I understand that they were planned by Rigathi Gachagua to visit Raila family. Plans were there. They will go as the whole opposition team to go and maybe just visit Raila if they're back in Karen. I don't know where those plans are there. The political tension is to disorganize the ODM party. I can tell you the next few days, it is going to be Sifuna, ako na Wamunyoro, ataki Raila, so Sifuna is the enemy. It all have everything to do with the ODM succession. You see, all this, so and so hate Raila, it has everything to manage the ODM succession. And I think, as I finish, there's some things that, me I believe on God, sana. I really trust that everything doesn't just happen for a reason. And politicians must learn a lot from the Raila's death. It was very reckless for the statement that Rigathi made on Raila mimisi bacteria. We all didn't agree with that. It was very reckless. And on that matter, there's some things that probably we should have a box. When it touches someone's health, wachana nayo. When it touches death, be very sensitive. Be very sensitive. And then when it touches family. Politics ni hapa nje. On some of these personal things, let us be very sensitive. It is incumbent upon Mutahi Kahiga to apologize, not to us, not to the community, not to Raila supporters, but to Mama Ida. I think that is not too much to ask for. He just needs to be apologized to that family.